When you think about heavy industry, you probably picture immense, controlled power, right? Forces that can build our entire world. But what's wild is that sometimes the smallest, most overlooked thing can unleash a power that is anything but controlled, and it all starts here.
So take a look at this beast. This is an aluminum reverberatory furnace. We're talking about a piece of equipment that can hold up to 100,000 pounds of molten metal. Just try to imagine the sheer amount of energy contained in there, all managed with incredible precision, day in and day out.
And then, just like that, all of that control can completely disappear. This is what's left behind. A plant, 230 feet long, just gone. We're not talking about something that happened over hours. This was instantaneous. A total catastrophic failure.
So you have to ask, what in the world could do this? What kind of force could cause that level of immediate, absolute devastation? Well, the answer is kind of shocking in how simple and how common it really is.
You see, the chain of events that led to this disaster is what's really mind-boggling. It wasn't some huge mechanical breakdown or a massive chemical spill. Nope. It started with something you and I see every single day. A closed container of water that accidentally fell into a scrap hopper on its way into the furnace.
That's it. That was the catalyst. Water. When water gets trapped and then submerged under thousands of pounds of molten metal, it goes from this essential, life-giving liquid to one of the most destructive forces you can possibly imagine in an industrial setting.
But how? I mean, how can simple H2O be that powerful? Well, it all comes down to a really, really violent and instantaneous change of state. It's all about physics.
Okay, so when that trapped water gets plunged beneath the surface of that molten aluminum, it doesn't just boil, it flashes into steam, instantly. And in that tiny fraction of a second, it expands to 1,600 times its original volume. Think about that, a 1,600 times expansion in the blink of an eye.
Now, to really wrap your head around that kind of power, get this. The steam eruption is so violent that it helps vaporize the aluminum itself. The result? You get an explosion where just a single pound of aluminum has the force of 3 pounds of TNT. It's absolutely incredible.
And the consequences? Well, they're just horrifying. In one of these explosions, people lost their lives. 14 others were seriously injured. The shockwave was so powerful it blew out windows in homes half a mile away, and people heard the blast from 55 miles away. This isn't just some theory, it's a devastating reality.
Okay, so we've established water is the bad guy here. But the real problem, the real challenge, is that this enemy is everywhere. It's often hiding in plain sight, and the sources can be things you'd never, ever suspect.
This picture pretty much says it all. What you're looking at was a single solid metal ingot. It looked totally safe, completely inert, but a tiny, tiny amount of moisture was trapped deep inside of it. The second it hit the furnace, this was the result. A violent eruption from something that looked like a solid block of metal.
So this means the threat is truly constant, and it can come from just about anywhere. We're talking about a little bit of condensation on a tool, some rainwater on scrap metal that was stored outside, or, as we just saw, moisture locked away inside what looks like a solid ingot. You have to be vigilant, absolutely all the time.
Here's the thing. You can't change the laws of physics. Water is always going to expand 1,600 times in molten metal. So how do you stop these disasters? Well, you can't fight physics, but you can outsmart it. You fight it with procedure. Rock-solid, unbendable procedure.
And these are the rules that save lives. First up, dry storage. All materials have to be stored in a place that is completely, totally dry. Second, you preheat the metal. Every single piece gets heated to at least 800 degrees Fahrenheit to cook off any moisture. Third, same thing goes for tools. Preheat them to a minimum of 300 degrees. And finally, a strict no-exceptions ban on all water-based fluids. And yes, that includes your bottle of water or cup of coffee anywhere near the furnace.
Now, rules and procedures are absolutely essential. But let's be honest, they don't mean a thing without the people on the ground enforcing them. The final, and you could argue the most important line of defense is just simple human diligence and awareness.
Even a choice as simple as what clothes you wear to work can be a life-or-death decision. If you wear cotton or wool, they won't melt in intense heat. But synthetics like polyester, they melt, almost instantly, sticking to your skin and causing just horrific burns. It's a simple choice, but the consequences are massive.
Another huge human factor is the environment itself. I mean, these furnace areas can hit 120 degrees Fahrenheit, making heat exhaustion a really serious risk. A worker who's dizzy, confused, or nauseous is a danger not just to themselves, but to everyone around them. So recognizing these symptoms in yourself and in your coworkers is a critical part of the job.
All right, so let's just boil this all down. The rules are crystal clear. Do preheat everything. Do wear natural fibers. And do assume all equipment is hot. Don't ever charge wet material. Don't wear synthetics. And don't bring any drinks near the furnace. These aren't just, suggestions. They are the barrier between a totally normal workday and an absolute catastrophe.
So ultimately, it really just comes down to this. We're dealing with the fundamental laws of nature here, that explosive power of water flashing to steam. And in that battle, our technology and our machinery can only do so much. The most powerful, the most essential safety tool we have might just be constant, unrelenting human vigilance.